My name is Euan. I am just going to give you a little talk on behalf of SRUC. So we are Scotland's rural university college, and we've got campuses from down in Dumfries, where I am right now, all the way up to Aberdeen. So we've got campuses right across Scotland, and I'm going to talk you through some of the animal care careers and how we get there, and a bit of my experiences as well through the animal care sector. So my job here at SRUC is an instructor. So I cover both animal care and horse care units. So my job is to teach up to 150 students a year across various courses from further to higher education. I teach them all the practical husbandry side of animal care, how to look after animals, how to feed them, how to medicate them, and all their unique specialist requirements. So I've done that job for the last 5 years and currently still do it. Part of the job as well is to look after all the animals in my care and make sure all their needs are met, as well as doing the management, ordering, things like that for all the animals. So it's a very varied job, which is really good. And again, one of the many possible careers you could get into with animals. So previously, I have worked on horse yards. I've worked as a supervisor in boarding kennels. I've also worked in animal rescue. So I've worked for the Scottish SPCA for nearly 5 years as well. Again, very varied jobs, and I've also had a little bit of experience working in zoological collections. So again, I am just one person. These are a good variety of careers that I've already managed to cover in my time, and we'll go into that in the next slide a little bit as well, just about the avenues for different careers related to the animal care sector that you could go into. And how I got to where I am just now. When I left school, I left and completed my Higher National Diploma in Animal Care at SRUC. And going on from that, I decided to go to university and study bioscience and zoology. Again, that's something that's really good to touch upon. It's when you're thinking about coming from school, even if some of your qualifications aren't at the highest level that you'd maybe like, there's always paths to get where you want to be. And that's where you can come through the tertiary route, come through college, then get up to university if that's the route you chose to do. So, why would you want to work in the animal care industry? Well, you've got a huge variety of career choices. You could literally do anything you could think of with animals. So the main courses I teach are animal care, which is a really broad spectrum course, which gives you a little bit of experience in lots of different areas, which if you want to specify your career as you go later on, you can go down certain routes and do certain specialities. But animal care is such a vast sector. So most people, when they say, I want to work with animals, want to automatically say, I want to be a vet. But again, your veterinary career is a very single track train, so to speak. That's what you want to do. Being a vet, you can be a vet in lots of different areas, but that is the job. Whereas animal care, you could do so many different things. Another important thing, why would you want to go into animal care? Do something you love. If you enjoy working with animals, why not come and join the animal care sector? Yeah, you get so much variety, and when you want to look at a career, you need to look at something you're going to love day in, day out. And that's what, if you enjoy working with animals, you'll get working with animals. Not to say it's always the easiest job in the world, but if you love it, you've got a passion for it, and that's really important. And also, in a lot of the careers you'll work with in animal care, you will get to work with some really awesome creatures that you potentially wouldn't do in any other normal walk of life. So, over my career, I have managed to work with lots of wildlife. So that was predominantly my rescue job, as I got to deal with every possible animal I could. So I got to deal with puffins, gannets, a kinkajou, which is a very exotic animal from South America, anything like that. People normally, you would only get to see these sorts of things in a zoo, or if you go and work in a zoo, you get to work with all these animals. So get hands-on with rhinos, anything. So it's a really unique job in which there's a lot of things you'll be able to do which you might not necessarily be able to do in normal life or other career choices. So here's a little slide, just some of the very many careers that you could potentially go into with animal care. So a lot of my students, when they leave me after studying animal care at various levels, quite a lot will go and work in kennel type setups. So whether that is your rescue centres, which is probably one of the more common ones for my students to go into, you've got boarding kennels as well, also commercial kennels, so that you would class like police kennels and things like that as well. A lot of my students want to go on and start their own businesses, which is a really good avenue with an animal care qualification. So again, it's usually pet sitter, dog walker type businesses, which in this day and age are very important, and a lot of people require them because everyone has very busy lives now, and quite often when people are at work, there's more awareness of better care for our animals. So there's a lot more industry there for pet sitting, dog walking, all that sort of stuff. Education as well. That's where I am. Again, not where I expected to be when I left school, but here I am. So you can work in animal education, but that'll include working in zoos and things as well. Teaching people about animals, where they come from, what their threats are in the wild, things like that. So there's a huge amount of careers. Again, Scottish SPCA inspector, etc., is always one a lot of people are really interested in. Again, that's a really good job to make a difference. Again, not the easiest job. You've got to deal with lots of difficult people, but you get to make a difference. Again, we've got our behaviourists, our zoologists and things. Again, like so your zoologist, that's something that you could progress from animal care, study in a little bit more depth potentially, and go down that career opportunity. Because again, in some areas of conservation and zoology now, there is a growing sector for that because we're a lot more aware of the damage we do to the planet. So there's a lot of companies now that will go out and assess areas for likes of construction and things, and that's where we need our conservationists or zoologists, etc., to go and study the animals in that area and say, actually, we can't build something here because it's going to affect this or that. So it's just something to bear in mind. But there is just a small pocket of the many, many career opportunities you've got going down the animal care sector. So, how do you get to work with animals? That is the question. Volunteering is first. That is the most important. If you enjoy working with animals, have a passion for animals, volunteering is your first step. Even before any other training, volunteer, get into as many different places as you can. So, again, as I grew up, I was very fortunate to get experience in a lot of different places. It also allows you to find what you enjoy most and what you maybe don't prefer as much. So, again, volunteering, a lot of people want to go into vet practices, things like that, which is really good. But also, you've got kennels, you've got stables, you've got farms, anything like that. No matter how small the experience is, the more volunteering you get, the better, and the better it will be for your career going forward. Also, we've got college training opportunities. So that's like you would come to me and I would give you, so you would come and do your course at a college like SRUC. Again, we start from further education that you can get into from with National 4, National 5 level, or you can come in at higher education, so like your HND, HNC level. And these are usually full-time courses, although there are some part-time opportunities. And that gives you all the skill set you need to go into industry and start developing your skills out there. University is also an option. Again, university can also be used as a follow-on from college. So as I said earlier, maybe if some things in school don't go to plan and you decide to start at college instead, there's that opportunity to progress through university and still come out with a degree at the end of it in an area that you're interested in. Distance learning courses as well. So again, here at SRUC and also through Lantra, there's a variety of distance learning courses, some of which you can do now while you're in school, etc. So we do our Principles of Animal Care, which a lot of people do alongside their school studies. And again, it just gives you that opportunity to start developing your skills a little bit more before you decide that that's the sector you will want to go into and that's where you want to start your training. There is also apprenticeship opportunities available. They're not as readily available across Scotland, but there are some there. And again, that's a really good avenue to go down, especially if you're not someone that likes to sit in a classroom. apprenticeships are really good to get out there, get into the workplace, but also learn as you go. So it's really, really important. Some people will go directly into work in the animal care sector, but when we talk about qualities, I'll talk you through some qualities that are really important to get into the sector. First skill I've covered here is hardworking. Hardworking is your most important skill in any area of animal care. It is not always the easiest. It's a lot of hard work. No matter what avenue you go into, it's hard work. So you need to be there prepared to work hard. Because again, in animal care sector, it's not all cuddling rabbits and things. It's a lot of shoveling poo and things as well. So you've got to be hardworking, self-motivated, compassionate. You're working with animals. You've got to understand that they can't speak our language. We need to look after them, be compassionate, and give them the best care possible. Time management is another really, really important skill to have, because you need to look after animals in a very timely manner. Animals like routine. So that's something. And again, with animals, it's not a 9 to 5 job all the time necessarily. So might have some early mornings, some later nights, but it's all worth it if you love it. You've got to be good at communicating and also be able to speak to customers. Unfortunately, a lot of people want to say, oh, let's go down and work with animals. But with animals comes people as well. So we've got to deal with both people and animals. So again, communication is really important. And again, be innovative and patient. Again, we're working with animals and potentially people that aren't as clued up as we are. So you've got to be a really patient individual to go down and work in the animal care sector. So what subject should you study if you're still at school? So for our courses, our main subjects are English, biology and maths. However, any other science subject, including likes of environmental science, etc., are really important. Again, geography is a good subject because there's certain areas of that have got really good transferable skills into animal care. But the reason we ask for English is because you need to be really good at written and verbal communication. It's really important. Biology, it gives you a really good basic understanding of the requirements of animals, how their physiology is, things like that. In maths, unfortunately, in life, you've got to do lots of maths. So again, that could be working out how many animals you've got in a group, for instance, or how much you're feeding them. So again, that's something really important to have. For our courses, we ask for at least English and a science for the HE level, and we ask for English, biology and maths for FE, which is all at National 4, National 5 level. So why do I enjoy my job working in the animal care sector? Every day is different. So especially when I used to work in animal rescue, and even in my job now, every day is different. You don't know what is going to happen. Animals do different things every day. They always create new challenges, but that's part of the enjoyment in the job. You get to work with animals every day and improve their lives as much as you can and provide them with the best care level that you can, which is really important. And you take pride in that in the job. My job just now, I really enjoy being able to share my knowledge, give off to my students all the things I've learned over the many years I've worked in industry. So by sharing that knowledge, we're bringing on the next level of animal care people to work in the industry. And that's really important to ensure all animals are getting the best care possible. And also, I love being able to work with exotic animals that most people maybe don't necessarily get to work with on a daily basis, which is really important and it's really good. And it just adds a little bit of variety. And some people are like, oh, that was really cool that you get to work with that. And that's just one of the advantages of working in the animal care sector. So that is that all done. Thank you for your time. And if anyone's got any questions, you can fire them in the chat box and I'll be happy to answer them.
Thanks so much for that, Euan. We do actually have a question for you, again from Dunblane High School's environmental science class. They're wanting to know, is it better to do lots of different volunteering or do one long term?
Lots of different. And I'll hammer that home any day of the week. Try and get, even if you've got a couple of days here and a couple of days there in different places, long-term volunteering is good. It shows a lot of commitment. However, to progress your career, a lot of employers want to see, have you got a variety of skill sets? So working in different places, volunteering in different places will give you a different range of skill sets every time. So yeah, I would say try and get as much experience across as many different areas as you can, as well as potentially some longer term and volunteer opportunities. It's a mixture of both.
Fantastic. Is there any particular types of volunteering that people might not think is useful for working with animals that you would really recommend?
So that's actually quite a good one. But again, it's any experience. So even if you say, oh, I want to go and become a dog walker, for instance, it's always good to get skills with a variety of animals. So even if you go and get experience on the likes of a farm and things. So a lot of people forget about those kind of opportunities. A good one when I was coming through school and college, is I went to post-mortem labs, which is really unique. A lot of people wouldn't think about that. But again, it gives you the opportunity to look at different sides of biology and look at things in reality. And it's little places like that that you could think of. So again, postmortems and things, again, it's a bit gory. And you've got the lab side of that as well. Because again, laboratories are something people don't always think about, but we've had quite a few students ending up going and working in labs and doing testing and things like that for samples for animal health. So yeah, it's anywhere that's related to animals is important.
Uh, Personally, what sort of things did you have to do as part of your volunteering in the postmortem lab?
So in that post-mortem lab, so I was there helping with fecal samples. Lovely. So we would do like warm egg counts and things. We would also do agar plates where we look for bacteria growth, things like that. And then a large part of it as well was going into the post-mortem suite, assisting the vets to open up the animals, look at different organs, any problems, any obvious issues like some parasites and things, um, and just having really in-depth looks and then looking at how we process results and things like that. So you got to see every aspect of diagnostic veterinary techniques doing that, which again, if any of you get the opportunity to, so through SRUC, we've got a variety of labs up and down Scotland that do the post-mortem and testing. If there's any near you, drop them a little email, see if you can go in even for a day or two, just to see how it all works. Because again, you sometimes get really strange things in. A majority of time it'll be farm livestock, but you'll get unique animals in. Like when I was there, I managed to strike it lucky, and I got to see a post-mortem on a capybara, which is a very big cavy. So it's essentially a giant guinea pig. But that was something unique to look at. So yeah.
Fantastic. And are they likely to encourage kind of school visits to come along?
Potentially, I can't speak for the lab side of things, but again, if any teachers are on this and you've got labs, etc., nearby, it is worth dropping them an email. You can find contact details on the SRUC website. But again, I know for our educational campuses, animal care unit, where I work, etc., we really encourage as many school visits as we can. So again, even if some of our campuses are a little bit closer by to some people on this call today, contact your nearest SRUC campus and we'll do our best to accommodate, whether that's tours through labs or through educational facilities as well.
Fantastic. And you were saying that you've worked with some exotic animals. What's the most exotic animal you've ever worked with?
So I've been lucky enough, I have worked with rhinos in the past. But I would probably say one of the most unique was a kinkajou I had to rescue when I worked in animal rescue. So a kinkajou is an animal native to South America. It's relatively big. They've got very sharp teeth, and it was actually an escaped animal that I had to manage to wrangle up the side of the motorway. But I have worked with penguins, meerkats, macaques, so a huge variety, but they're all unique in their own different way, and they're all special.
Tell us more about wrangling it up the motorway. How did you go about that?
So, with the kinkajou, it came through as a call first thing in the morning. It came through as a lemur originally, and I seen the job come through, and I was like, oh, it won't be a lemur, because when I worked for the SSPCA, we'd quite often get calls to things that didn't quite work out as they seemed. But I'd attended the job, and luckily someone had managed to contain it in a car tire and put something on top of it. So there was a big tire sitting at the side of the road because there was a house just nearby. And then I had to get my grasper out and managed to get it in a box. And then I had to make some very difficult phone calls to ask which domestic rescue centre could hold a kinkajou for a little while. But luckily we found the owner quickly enough and it got returned back to the owner. But again, it's one of those that was very difficult. Again, no training prepared me for that. You've just got to, in that situation, get hands-on, avoid getting bitten, use all your PPE correctly, and just do what you can. So yeah, that was a very unique one. Again, things like that people don't think happen nearby, but again, that was a really good career I had in animal rescue because you just see different things every day. That is not what I expected to go to when I started my shift at 7 o'clock that morning.
Do you have a favourite animal that you've got to work with, or maybe one that you haven't yet, but you'd quite like to?
Really random, but tapirs. I absolutely love tapirs and would like to work with them. But again, it's one of those, everyone says, what's your favourite animal? I struggle to say one animal in particular. Every animal is unique in their own way, and I enjoy them all equally, all for their different quirks.
For anyone out there that doesn't know what a tapir is, could you explain that one to us?
So you've got 5 different species of tapir, endemic to Asia mainly. They're essentially like giant pigs. So they've got a really long snout. You've got your Malayan tapir, you've got your mountain tapir, etc. But they are herbivorous. But they can be relatively aggressive in certain areas and certain species. So your Malayans are probably a little bit more laid back to your, like, say, your mountain tapirs. But they are really, really unique animals to work with. And you do generally see them quite often in zoological collections and things across here, but they are pretty endangered. And again, there's no rhyme or reason why I've always wanted to work with them. I just think they're really cool.